All right, folks. Wanted to say what's up to West Coast MC Wicks for joining us on this session of Off the Grid. What is going on, brother?
What up, man? Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate you. Just chilling out, getting it
Yeah,
right.
absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to chopping it up, man. It's been a minute, man. And real quick, man, can we start with just having you introduce yourself, telling us where exactly you're from in California and how long you've been making music?
MC Wicks, born and raised in Fresno, California.
Sir.
That's Central California. We in the middle. We the heart. And I've been doing this for 15 years now, man. Never took a break. All gas, no brakes. Never played around with the game. Was always 110% serious about it. But I enjoyed the journey, man. I enjoyed the process, everything, the good
Yeah,
and the bad.
it's been amazing, man. Watching that journey of yours, and I mean, 15 years in the game, and I mean, who are your influences growing up before you started rapping? Who are you listening to?
When I first got into rapping, at the time when I was young, I don't know why I liked a lot of like violent shit, like video game. I
Yep.
always picked the most violent video game characters. I always like the most violent villains. So as far as rap goes, when I first started rapping, I was listening to Brother Lynch heavy and Necro at the time.
Oh, they are hard, man. I love it,
I
man.
thought that hardcore, like that's what I was all about. But yeah, man, and then from that, later on, it went to Biggie, to Wu Tang, to Nas, Sean P,
Yep.
Planet Asia. You know what I mean? Like names like that. Big Pun.
Oh man, yeah, yeah. I could definitely see that in the way that you deliver your rhymes and some of the stuff that you talk about. And was there a specific MC that you were like, man, I'm gonna start rapping now? That kind of like just got you to just put the pen to the paper, and you were like, man, I'm gonna try this, man. I want to be like this dude, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, Necro was a big influence in the beginning, man. And it's crazy because now that I'm older, like I go back and I listen to the music, and some of it I can still listen to. Some of it's so crazy and so extreme and so violent. I'm like, damn, how did I even like this? Like, this is crazy. It's like another level, like details and everything. But there's some Necro joints that are still dope, man. But I think the rappers that made me want to push the envelope on a higher level was like probably like Ghostface,
Okay.
Big Pun, and like Biggie for sure. Those three ones. Necro got me into it, but these people made me want to elevate on an even higher level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pun.
Different phases of your life, man. Yeah, I can see that big pun flow too, man. When you're delivering rap, especially in the new album, Internal Healing. Like, man, your
Yeah,
flow was freaking wicked, man. It was just, man, it was polished, sharp, and on point. And then that's what I was thinking as I was listening to that album. I was like, man, his delivery, rapid fire, machine gun, sounded fantastic, man.
thank you, man. Thank you. The
Yeah, and
crazy,
I remember, and I met you back way in yeah, a couple years ago, 2019, and that isn't way back, but just right before COVID hit. And I remember when we were talking, you told me that you used to study MCs, like down to like the way they were breathing, writing their raps too. Can you talk to me about that a little bit?
yeah, man, Sean Price. Sean Price was the particular one, the most specific one that I took his technique, but Sean Price puts a lot of pauses in
Okay.
his raps and a lot of spaces. And specifically, I think the song might be called Madman. I'm not sure, but he's all like, liquor store, let me get a fifth. Weed spot, let me get a split. Mad as hell. Plus, I'm frustrated. Last album came out, y'all motherfuckers hated. And
Yeah. Rest
and
in peace.
I was like, wow, he just did a pause in between every single bar he had a lot of space in there, and I was all like, that's gonna help out on stage for
Yep.
sure. And then even Sean Price will even do something crazy, like a crazy like double time or triple time or some wild wordplay. And in the middle of that wildness, he'll have a big pause and then he'll finish it. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah,
Yeah,
shout out to
breath
Sean
control,
P.
right?
Yeah, yeah. He had that was one of the illest techniques, and it's crazy because it makes it come off like effortless. It
Yeah.
makes it come off like very nonchalant, but it's actually a technique that's helping you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
R.I.P. Sean P, one of my favorites right there.
Yeah, and I'll say that I've seen a lot of footage where you're performing live, and you sound great live, man. Like just like no breaths, and I know you get the pauses in between, but I think that's really helped in terms of your delivery live. Like you sound amazing, man. I'm like,
Thank
dude,
you.
dude's on fire, man. So that's dope, man. I always find that fascinating too, man. Like when you're studying different MCs and you notice like the different styles and things that they're doing. So that's awesome, man. Sean P was the model for you, man.
Yeah, man. The new album, I feel like Q-Tip was a good influence on it because
Oh wow.
I'm gonna tell you something crazy about this album right here.
Let's hear it.
So originally the beats were completely different. I
Oh,
don't want to put the producer on blast or
okay.
nothing, but a producer sent me like a batch of beats, and around this time I was working on myself and becoming more spiritual and enlightened, and I was experimenting with a lot with mushrooms. The whole album is my mushroom album, and I was trying to face my inner demons, face my biggest fears and conquer, and
Yep.
so this dude he sent me these beats, and I was doing shrooms, and I was either writing about the experience in real time while I'm high. I'm like, damn, this is going on. Or the next day, clear headed, level headed, I was writing about what happened previously. Cause you get a lot of lessons, you get a lot of wisdom. It's almost like the shrooms are like a teacher, or they almost like talk to you, they tell you where you're fucking up,
Yeah.
where you're coming short, what you gotta do, or they might just we like underappreciate a lot of things and it'll show you the value of the little things we overlook. So nonetheless,
Yo.
this producer sent me all these beats.
Uh-huh.
They're kind of like slow tempo, they're
Okay.
kind of like jazzy, soulful, and it was all slow motion, which is cool because that's what I was on. I was on that slow motion. So it's crazy you're talking about the cadences because
Uh-huh.
when I wrote the whole album in maybe like a month or something because I was
Oh,
I
yeah.
was I was high as hell that month. I ain't gonna lie, but I wrote.
Well, hey, let me tell you this though, man. Like the two albums that I chose that I wanted to speak to you about was your Ghetto Artsy album, and then I was gonna talk about how different it was on the Internal Healings album, and I thought it was mad introspective, so it makes a lot of sense, man. And there are so many dope songs, but I wanted to point out the thing that you did with the spoken word. So you did God is Real and According to Plan, and I was like, man. Dude, so like normally spoken word and then mixed in with like albums. I've tried it before and I'm like, I hate it. But man, those tracks were on point, man. Like the
Thank
lyrics, and then I was like driving and just like, oh man, I got stuck in myself for a second. Like, oh, I gotta pay attention. But the lyrics were mad deep on both those pieces, man.
Yeah, man. With the spoken word, I've been dabbling in that since like 2019,
Okay,
and it's crazy because I try to do the first open mics I went to
okay,
were spoken word open mics because I was like I've been rapping since I was like 13, so
uh huh,
as soon as I was like 16, I wanted to be on the scene, and there wasn't
yeah,
a lot of places I could go because I'm underage, but there's a poetry open mic, and I didn't care what it was, if it was like acoustic or are
Uh-huh.
musicians. I'll go anywhere and rap, even if it's a cappella, if there's a mic open. So I
Dope.
used to be the only rapper at the poetry open mic, and I'll rap a cappella, whatever, and
Uh-huh.
then I'll sit back and watch the poets, and I was like really inspired. I was like, damn, this is tight.
Yeah.
And then one day I tried to do a poem. I was like, oh, next week I'm gonna do what they do. And
Okay.
man, I dropped the ball, like I fumbled the ball, man. I froze up, I messed up. And then I
Uh-huh.
was like, fuck this. And I went straight into rap mode. I just started rapping.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But
Safety net.
after that, I didn't touch poems for years, probably like 6, 7 years before I tried again. And then
Yeah.
I I tried it again and it worked out.
Yeah.
And I was just writing poems from like 2019 to now. And I kind of got into that world a little bit. Not too deep, but I started getting into it a little more. I even did I
Yeah.
did my first slam not too long ago and I won. I
Whoa,
won a poetry
congratulations,
slam.
man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. I was like surprised that I won. I was like, damn, shit, it's my first one. But yeah, I did that and
Uh-huh.
so I wanted to kind of start doing a little bit of that. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just suddenly like just throw a little bit of it into the music,
It
get
worked.
people comfortable with the idea that I could do that. And yeah, because maybe one day I'll do a poetry book or something, or maybe
Yeah.
one day I'll do a whole project that's spoken word. But right now I'm just
Well,
getting the people used to it.
yeah, it was great, man. And the topics too were on point, man. Just God is real, and we question His presence all the time. And so the examples that you brought up, it just had me thinking too. And then just the album closing, right? So you hit me with like a lot of inspirational tracks for internal healing, and then you closed out with such a motivational piece, man. And I was just really feeling it, and you brought the vibe with the clapping in the background. Just I felt like I
Yeah,
was, I felt like I was at an actual show, man. So that I thought was like a different side of MC Wicks that I seen, and that I really appreciated, man.
God is real. The story with the homeless man, like that's a true story. Like I was
Oh,
fucking I was on psychedelics and I went to this little burger joint and I'm hella high. And when you're hella high, you could tell like when other people are hella high and you're speaking this kind of little high language and no one no
yeah,
one around
that's
you,
what's up.
no one around you could understand what's going on besides you two, and
Yeah.
he was kind of like talking to himself and he was like really, really high. And then I don't know, I just looked at him and I felt like, he was running from something, and I said, don't run away from God, run to him and
Yeah.
he'll show you the way. Like that statement I said, I really said it, and then I gave him some food, and then showed him some love, and
Wow.
so yeah, that's a real story. And then the second part, I say, thank you God, I see the light,
Yeah.
and with that part, I was in my room, I was watching this fucking Pink Floyd animation, and there's all these fires and these flames, and from like my peripheral vision away from the screen, I seen like kind of like a black orb. If you ever see ghosts, they're like kind of like in picture, they're like
Yeah,
circles and
that's right.
orbs.
Floating. Yep.
Yeah, I seen like a black orb, and I knew it was like a bad energy, and it was floating towards me like really, really, really slowly,
Oh
and
wow.
it got like this close to me, like in my face, and I was like, "Fuck that shit! I'm right here. I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying my shit.
Yeah.
No evil energies or no negative entities are gonna ruin my mind state." And when that shadow or that demon or whatever it was, it got this close to me, and it's kind of corny, but people talk about the third eye or the pineal gland.
Yep.
Where that is, I've seen like a light, like right here, light
Wow.
up, and the light made the shadow and made the darkness run away.
Oh
It
man.
made the light and the shadow flee. And when that light turned on, I realized I was protected by the light, and I
Nice.
was I said, "Thank you, God.
Yep.
I have light. Thank you, God, for giving me the light." So yeah, like these lyrics, they're like real like experiences, real trips. Like I really want to do a whole thing where I could just break down the whole album one day, like and like fine
Dude.
detail, because literally word for word, people might think it's a metaphor, and it is a metaphor, but it
Yeah.
was also a real hallucination. A lot of
Oh
it is
man.
crazy. Yeah,
It's funny you mentioned that too, right? So the third eye. So I think now that I think about it, the cover is an animated picture of you with the third eye. I think, right? Or
yeah, yeah.
just in some sort of meditative state, right? I believe.
The crazy part about the cover is shout out to the homegirl,
Uh huh.
Pierce. She did the artwork, and
Yeah.
I had a conversation with her around the time that I started making that album.
Okay.
I was just talking to her about what I was doing in life and about these lessons I was learning, and she started putting her artwork out to the public a little bit later, and I shared it because I liked it,
Yeah.
and all of my peoples blew her page up, and she started like selling stickers and merch and all kinds of stuff when
Nice.
she started throwing her art out more. She goes, "Oh, I'm gonna make you some artwork on the love because you show me so much support. A
Yeah.
lot of your people buy from me, and you're always showing love. So I'm gonna give you some art on the love." And
Nice.
she sent me the album cover without the words, just the image, and that just summed up the album so perfectly. And I was like, "Oh, I
Agree.
want that for my album cover. Could you throw these words on there?"
Yeah.
And it's because she never heard the album, and it's such a perfect image. Like she had no idea what I was talking about or
Hundred
saying.
percent.
She just said, "I remember our conversation." So the whole album cover is based off of a conversation. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, and that she had never heard the album is even more wilder, man. So that's crazy.
Fits the music like perfectly.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing.
Yo,
But
what
yeah, man.
I like too is you went full court press, man. You did a lot of music videos that went along with the album, and so you did one for Shine On, which you released this month. Can you tell me about just the making of that video and why you chose that? And I know you did a couple for the album, but why in particular Shine On?
Oh man, that's one of my favorite songs, man. Like,
Yep.
and you can't let no one in the world dim your light. Like, you can't let struggles or obstacles or anything in the world dim your light. Everything's always trying to dim your light or bring you down, but
Yeah,
you got to shine on through it all, man. The good and the bad. But
that's right.
yeah, I had to do that. That was one of my favorite songs, and
The message.
yeah, it was. That's like a thing that I have. A reoccurring thing. I always talk about shining, and I always talk about lights. It just keeps coming back, and
Okay.
I don't know. I'm into that. I'm into that. But yeah, that was one of my favorite joints, so I just had to do it, man. Shout
Yeah.
out BC
Okay.
for the video, man. He did that.
Yeah, and that was the song that I talked about. I think that was the first song I listened to the album, and it had the rapid fire delivery that I really liked. That I was like, man, his style is super polished on this album. But I would tell you though, man, the best video I really enjoyed was Go with the Flow, man. Like it looked like
Oh
you had fun making that album, man, or that video. I'm
yeah,
sorry, just getting in the
yeah.
water and stuff. That was cool.
I did have fun. I had a lot of fun. Like shout out my sister. Like she knew the spot,
Uh huh.
and she's all into hiking and all that. And she's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go to the spot." Like it's not too bad. Like it's an easy hike. And then we
Yeah.
ended up walking like hella miles and stuff. I was all
She got
going
you.
through it. I was all dying. I was like, "Damn, you fucking tricked me!" But when I got there, it was worth it. It was worth
Sure.
the whole entire like journey. The whole entire climb up the hill. Like,
Yeah.
and I had a lot of fun with that, man. Shout out
Yeah.
to my boy Dark TV 33. He did that video right there.
Yeah, yeah. The hook, man. Go with the flow. Don't go against the grain. Follow your heart. Forget the brain. Go with the flow. Don't go against the grain. Flush your insecurities down the drain, man. And went well with the video. Lyrics are on point. And I mean, man, your writing was flawless, man, and the messaging was just amazing. But yeah, that video was fun to watch.
Yeah, man. Shout out to when I wrote when I first started making this album, like two of the first when I did like a real like a full eighth,
Yeah.
I feel like I did the most perfect thing I could have did, and I watched Fantasia, the
The
animation,
Mickey
and
Mouse movie?
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
wow. Uh-huh.
that movie to me is pure art because it's like an orchestra, it's animation, the
Yep.
animation is moving with the sound and the rhythm, and it's all art, but it's all one, it's all connected, like layers and layers and layers of art. And
Yeah.
I was watching it and I was just like mind blown, and I was like, damn, this is genius, this is great, this is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, damn, how did they get so good? The animators, the orchestra, like everything. I was like, this is perfect. And I was just mind blown and inspired by that. And then I came to my room and I was like, what did the hippies do? What were the hippies talking about? And I never listened to Pink Floyd in my life, but I always
Okay.
seen the Dark Side of the Moon, the cover, the logo, and I've always heard about the Dark Side of the Moon, and I always heard Pink Floyd, and I was like, I'm gonna put that on. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure people I'm pretty sure people got high and listened to that.
Oh, I love
And
it.
again, boom, my mind was blown. Like that album is like one of the best albums I think ever made, like period. In
Wow.
music, overall, all genres. And I was so inspired, and literally right after those two things is when I wrote my first song. The first song I wrote was Pure Game. But
Okay.
yeah, those that movie and that album, they're two masterpieces. And right after I watched that, I was still had a little high going on, and I was like, my goal in life is to make at least one masterpiece, like a
Yeah. Yeah.
true masterpiece that could stand with the throughout the times. You know what I mean?
Man,
That
I
could
hear
last
that.
throughout the times. And that was my goal with the internal healing, was to make my first masterpiece. And that's just every album I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Now my mind state is different. Every album I make, I want it to last 100 years. You know,
That's it, man.
if art could be that great, like we've seen people do it throughout history, so why not just aim for that every single time? You know,
I
that's how I look
agree,
at
man.
it.
And that was a different showing of your album, man. And yeah, man, I agree, man. It's you really try to put it down and make sure that that it'll stand the test of time. So I agree. And where were the locations of all those videos? All the same place or different place? Were they in Fresno or outside?
One was like by a little town called Erosi. That was the
Okay.
Go with the Flow, and then another one, Pure Game, was in Monterey on the
Oh wow.
beach.
Oh, y'all went deep.
Monterey,
Yeah.
yeah, and then Shine On was in Fresno. We got like a Zen garden,
Okay.
and I was all like, okay, no one's ever used that, so I'm gonna use that. And then
Yeah.
we I did a lot of videos. There's a couple more in there too. I'm trying to think of all the videos.
Yeah.
There's
Full court press, man.
I got some more coming too. I'm gonna do I probably got like three more videos. I'm gonna do 2 or 3 more.
Amazing, man.
Now nowadays everyone they want the visuals and the content. So like
Yep.
you might as well do as many videos off the project as you can, you know? That's how I
Yeah.
look at it.
I enjoyed it, man. Full court press was dope, man. And real quick, man, I want to just kind of take it back to the origin. How did you come up with the name MC Wicks? What's the story behind the name?
So yeah, MC, as we all know, stands for Master of Ceremony,
Yes, sir.
microphone controller, move the crowd. And it's crazy because I started rapping in 2008 and nobody had the name MC in their name. That was like a retro kind of thing. But I wanted to put it in my name because that's the bar and the expectation I gotta always reach. If I'm not an MC when I step on the stage, that's like false advertisement. So every time
So,
I rock, I gotta be dope. I gotta be on point, like the MC. And if not, then I miss representing myself. You know.
Yep.
And Wicks was kind of like short for Wicked, but Wicked kind of sounds like a cholo name a little bit. I'm not definitely not that. And I liked all that horrorcore crazy rap, so I was like, I wanted to symbolize like craziness or madness or chaos or violence, and I was like, well, I'm gonna be Wicks,
Yeah.
MC Wicks, MC Chaos. Nah, but it's like
Hey man,
MC.
and I actually was gonna mention that, man, was like you don't see MC as a part of people's names anymore, and I thought that was a dope tribute to all the MCs and the pioneers that did that. And so I wasn't sure like if that was kind of the reason, but I love it, man. It's just hey, you gotta be an MC when you're on stage, and this is who I am. So that I found fascinating. And when I first heard your music, I had wondered why you used MC, and I always thought it was a dope tribute, man. So
Yeah,
that's a dope story, man.
carrying on tradition, man. We got to make sure. It's good now. There's many layers and different styles and of hip hop, but we got to always make sure that there's room for that MCing or the root or the pure, the pureness. The whole game don't got to be that, but that should always be a lane.
Okay.
Shout out to the pioneers that made it happen.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. When I was growing up and just learning about the underground, so that was like the late '90s, man. And so Fresno had a dope movement, man. And I was a big fan of the dude by the name of Planet Asia, man, in the late '90s. And I seen him perform in San Jose one time, and he just blew my mind. So tell me about the Fresno music scene, man. So you had dope MCs coming out of Fresno, like him for one. And how was that growing up watching guys like him and just watching the Fresno scene?
Shout out to Planet Asia. He opened the door for us in a lot of ways. As far as like MCing and backpacking, like I'm kind of a historian out here with the history, and he was the first one to do that in Fresno. When he was
Yeah.
doing that, he used to be in a crew called Schoolyard. They also called it Yard Massive for a
Yep.
minute, and around that time, if you look up like Fresno rap history, it was all G Funk, it was all gangster rap, it
Oh,
was all West Coast, and it was there's a lot of people actually like banging on record. And he was like they were like the first hip hop MCs, you know what I mean? Schoolyard and a group called Trendsetters, and that was cool that he did that, and they stood on their own. They didn't follow the crowd. And
yeah.
shout out to all the gangster shit too, because that's just tight. But
Foundation.
he did that in Fresno when nobody was doing it, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, he's one of my favorite MCs. And the first show I ever went to, it was KRS-One in Planet Asia, and
Wicked.
to this day, I've seen a lot of shows, and you can see KRS 1,000 times, and every time it's gonna be dope.
Believe
Same thing
that,
with
man.
Planet Asia. You can see Planet Asia 1,000 times. He could do the same set list every time, but the MCing and the level of artistry and craftsmanship is so tight that you're still gonna rock with it like it's the first time you heard it. So
Yeah.
shout out to Planet Asia. He always showed love. He always gave game over the years, and he always shows support. But the scene is good, man.
Yeah.
There's always something going on. There's always at least a handful of MCs that are really dope. But I really wish that more people stuck with it for the long run.
Okay.
Cause then like I go to like LA a lot, and I go to their underground scene, and you'll see like Project Blowed and the Freestyle
Yeah.
Fellowship. To this day, they'll be like the OGs in the crowd,
Yeah.
schooling the youngsters, gaming up the youngsters and letting their presence be seen and felt. And with us, people try it for a few years, and then if it pans out, if it don't pan out, then they'll just get a 9 to 5 and just step away altogether. And I think more legends gotta, stay consistent, stay around the scene, be more present. You know, I think that would help out a lot. But
Yeah, that's a good point,
o-
man.
overall, our whole history, if we look at the roster from the '80s to now, there's a lot of talent. But we need all the talent to be active. So I think that's our only problem is there's only so many people active at once, and we should all be active from the old school to the new school. We all got to be active, I think.
And I say you practice what you preach, man. You're one of the most active guys I've seen in a long time, man. So you're always performing, and it seems like almost every weekend, man. And as much as if you've done, man, like what any shows that were particular highlights for you? Were some of the best shows that you did this year? I got one that I want to bring up, but I want to hear from you first on what your favorite show was for this year so
Oh,
far.
for this, oh, for this year so far,
Yeah.
damn. I'm trying to think of this year, man. Top Fest is one of my favorite shows like ever, but that was like maybe like think like 2 years ago. That shit was great. I'm gonna tell you that story, and then I'm gonna think of one from this year. But at
Okay.
Top Fest, this is crazy because I went on. I think I went on maybe like at 1:30 or like 2 o'clock. So that's early time for a festival. So
Yep.
there's people there, but it's not like hella people's there yet.
Uh-huh.
And I was on the little stage, and there's like a big main stage, and I started rapping, and I started doing my call and response, like make some noise, and then the crowd just went. The little crowd that was there got really loud,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
extremely loud, and everybody from the main stage could hear it, and they're like, What's going on over there?" So I'm rapping, and I'm seeing people power walking from hella far, power walking. I'm seeing people like kind of like almost like jogging, like they're kind of like
Yeah.
leaving the main stage and coming to the little stage. And
Oh, nice, man.
yeah, and it's crazy because one of my homies was a vendor by the main stage, and he told me that literally everybody left the main stage, and the artist that was performing was like, he just looked at the DJ and was like, "Cut it," and
Uh-huh.
then he was like, "What the fuck?" And he was like, "Shit, shit, fuck." And then I guess like the artist even ran over, walked to my stage and
That's right.
was looking at me and then looking at the crowd and was like, "This motherfucker took the whole festival,
Ah, it's
lit-
sick. If you
and he
can't beat
wait. He
them,
had to
join them.
wait. He had to wait till I was done and restart his set." And to me, that's crazy because I literally like I did move the whole entire crowd to MC and move the crowd. I moved the whole crowd to my stage. So that's
Uh,
one of the most memorable things to me, man.
yeah.
I
Was
wish
that in Fresno too, or where was that at?
no, that was in Ontario, California.
Yeah, yep.
IE, yeah, Inland Empire. But yeah, that was one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite stories and moments ever. This year, I think this most recent one with Planet Asia, I did. That was really dope, man. That
Yeah.
was dope. And then I did my first show in San Diego as well.
Last week,
That's
right?
always exciting, like going to new places.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
awesome. That's how you build your fan base, man. Getting to see you live. But I thought I seen you on a bill, man, that had the Legends of the Bay, man, with like Spice One, Loonies, and where were you on that same bill
oh,
too?
you know what? You know what? That was this year, huh?
That's
Fuck.
right, man. That's what
All
I was like, dude. He performed with all those people, man. Oh man.
So you know what? Maybe let me retract my statement. That show right there, that show right there is crazy because before that show, like there was maybe like one or two shows where I had like a fat guy moment, and I don't really have that too much, but I did like one or
Dude,
two shows, and it kind of messed with me a little bit.
yeah.
I was like, damn, like you every it happens to everybody, and everyone like messes up here and there, like for me back in the days, it would happen like every like 3 years, maybe like there'd be one hiccup every
Uh-huh.
3 or 4 years. But before that show, there was like maybe like it happened like real close, like two of them, and then nothing ever messed with my subconscious as far as MCing or performing. but
Uh-huh.
that was like kind of messing with me, and I'm like, damn, I'm slipping or I'm fucking up, and
Uh-huh.
it started becoming like a little fear, and I was like, nah, I gotta defeat that. I can't let
Yep.
that linger. I can't let that live in there. And like I like for the first time, I never had anxiety performing, but I started
That
getting
day,
little
huh?
mini anxieties because I
Yeah.
made two hiccups too close, and then that day I go before I went on stage, I was like, you know what? Fuck all that shit. I've been doing this shit
Yeah, yeah, that's right,
forever.
man.
I've been killing shit all over the state, up and down. Like I've been demolishing everything. Like I already know what to do, and I already know what it is,
Yup.
and I've done it a million times. So I'm gonna just go up there. I'm just not gonna worry about it at all.
Yeah.
And that's all. I got it back. I got it all the way
Nice.
back, and I killed it. And that's it's crazy. Like the timing was perfect. So I'm on the side of the stage,
Uh-huh.
and he asked to get on the show last minute, like surprise, like pop up. So
Man.
Daz walks in, and it's him and like a thousand, a thousand people, like a big entourage. And
Uh-huh.
he walks on the side of the stage, and I see him. I'm like, oh shit, Daz in the house. And
Yup.
then I go on the stage, and I'm demolishing it. And
Yeah.
yeah, shout out to LA Cool. You know what I mean? He was hosting, and I'm demolishing it, and I'm seeing him, and he's all like tripping
Vibing.
out. He's like, oh damn, Wicks is doing that. And then
Yes, sir.
when I finish, right when I finish, Daz goes on right after me as a surprise. So I'm about to walk off stage, and somebody from his crew was like, "Nah, little homie, that shit was raw. That shit was tight."
Yes.
He's like, "Stay up here, you with us." And I was like, "Oh, all right, cool." And he's like, "You smoke?" And I was like, "Fuck it, yeah, I smoke." And he passed me like a joint, and he's
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh," he's like, "You're dope. You're raw. I haven't seen nothing like that in a while." And he was like,
Oh, I love it, man.
he's like, "I'm gonna try to get a song with you and Daz."
Oh,
And I was
dang.
like, "Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up." And then he's like, "Get my number down." So I got his number down, and his name was like Beefy Loke, and they're all Crips, you know.
Yeah.
So I typed his name Beefy Loke with a K, and I was all like, I go like this, and he's like, nah, cuz you got to do that with a C, cuz.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, right, right.
And I was like, oh, okay, my bad. All right, Beefy Loke with a C, and I'll just post it up there, and somebody from Daz's crew rap just like a song, and then Daz he gave me props, and I was
Man,
like, damn, that's what's up. And then
legend.
also the Loonies gave me props too. They do a lot of the dog, like the bully shows out here in
Yep.
Central Cali.
Okay.
So they see me perform a few times, but after the show, I was breaking down my merch, and they gave me props. I was like, oh damn, all the West Coast like
Legends,
OG
man.
legends are like, that's all it is. As long as they give props and salute you, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
Like
it's
nothing
great.
more, nothing less. But I got saluted by all the legends that day, man. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's great to be in the presence of the guys who set the path, man. And Mac Mall was the one I was like, he's my favorite
Oh,
out of that group. And
he shows me love too. He's seen me a few times out here too, man. He shows mad love. Shout out Mac Mall.
yes, sir. Oh, well, that's cool. And that's why I was going through the shows. I was like, man, that's probably my favorite one, man. Opportunity to rock with those guys, man. So super cool, man. Props to you for doing that one, man.
Yeah, man. Shout out my boy Tolly, man. He put that together, man. That's one of my
Well,
favorite promoters right there.
well, hey man, I want to talk to you about your musical journey, and we've been doing it, and so I've seen it for a couple years, and I appreciate a lot of the interviews that you do, and you're a big fan of the concept of manifestation, right? Where you create your own destiny and you think about it and just make it happen, man. You want to share a little bit about that with me, real quick?
Shout out to KRS-One. I told this story a lot, so I'll try to give a summarized version of it. But
Okay.
my first show that I ever went to was KRS-One in Planet Asia at Fresno State.
Mhm.
Like I did. It's crazy because he did a lecture in the morning, so
Dope.
I did school that day. I did regular school to go to the school of hip hop, and KRS-One, he gives his lecture, and at the end of his lecture, he gives out his book, The Gospel of Hip Hop. So he did a lecture in the morning at the college, but in the night he did a show. So I listened to the lecture. I didn't get a book, but I heard the lecture, and I just hung around campus the whole day until the show. I was just hanging around, and it's crazy too because they turned a lot of people away for some reason. I don't know why, but it was like a real intimate show. So Planet Asia demolishes it, and I'm like, it's my first rap show, and I'm like 16, and I'm like a hardcore like hip hop head, and I'm just like I'm hyped. You know what I mean? Like I never. This is my first time seeing some real hip hop shit in front of me, and I'm like,
Yes.
I'm all fanning out. I'm hyped, and so Asia kills it. KRS kills it. At the end of KRS one set, he opens up a cipher, and I'm in the cipher, and I'm the youngest one in the crowd, and all these older cats they're rapping and they're passing the mic, and when it comes to me, they're going yoink. They're putting it like passing it right over me, like
Oh.
skipping me, and I'm like, damn, these motherfuckers, grown ass motherfuckers, man. So
Yeah, fuck y'all, man.
I keep trying to get the mic, and they keep passing me up, and I wish I knew who it was, but there's this white dude, and he's like, I see you, little homie. He's like, you want to rap? And he's like, next time they pass me the mic, I'm gonna rap, then I'm gonna pass it to you.
No.
So he raps and he passes it to me, and I demolish it. I obliterate it. I kill everybody,
Yeah.
everything. I'm a little kid, and the whole crowd, the whole room was just like, damn. Like whose nephew is that?
Hell yeah.
Whose little nephew is that? He's and so I did it. I rapped in there a few times, and I was going hard, like I was hungry. And KRS, he tours with his wife and his family. So after the show, KRS, his wife, walks up to me and she goes, "Hey, did you get a book?" And I go, "No, I didn't get a book." And she goes, "Oh, I'm gonna give you one." And I was like, "All right, cool." So she walks me backstage to the green room, and I'm just waiting by the door. I'm expecting her to like open the door and just hand me the book, and then I'm gonna go about my business, you know.
Yep,
So
yep.
she opens the door, and she's like, "It's all right, come in." And I go in there, and it's KRS One, and I was like,
Ah,
"Damn!"
so dope.
I was like, "This is crazy," you know. And KRS One, he starts telling me about his story about how he met Scott Rock in the homeless shelter. How when he first heard his song on the radio, he was homeless on the train, and he said a bunch of other stuff, but I was like kind of like shocked about what was happening. So I only remember bits and pieces, but the one thing he said that I always remembered is he said, "One day I'm gonna be on stage and I'm gonna pass you the mic." And it's crazy. After that day, that became my mission in
Yeah.
rap. I was like, I don't care if I go platinum. I don't care. I don't care if I never make it. I don't care if I never tour. I don't care what happens. I want that statement to become a reality.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize I didn't even realize the idea of manifestation. I had no idea what that was, the concept. I didn't even know what that was, but he subconsciously planted that seed and planted that vision and
Yeah.
planted that manifestation in my mind as a youth. And that was my goal. I was like, man, I got to get big enough to get on a festival with him.
Yeah.
I got to get big enough to go on a tour with him, or I got to grind and work to a point where that happens somehow, some way. So fast forward five, probably 5 years later, 5, 6 years later, and after that day, I went to any and every single hip hop show in Fresno. There wasn't anything hip hop that could happen in Fresno that I wasn't at. whether I was on stage or in the crowd. And I used to be like a vulture at the shows. Like I would wait for them to open the mic up for a cipher,
Yep.
and I'll be like yoink, and I would try to demolish everything. Like I would like just give me 30 seconds to
Yep.
show up. And I was doing that for a while. And shout out to my boy Irv, Rebel Line Clothing. KRS-One came back to Fresno, and the venue was 21 and over, and I was like 20 at the time.
Oh,
But my homie was a vendor, and he's like, "I'm gonna get you in," and he's
yes.
like, "Hold these boxes," you know what I mean? So he gets me in the venue, and I just stay behind his merch table until it gets crowded in there. And since I went to all the shows, I knew all the local rappers. And KRS-One, he does his show, and at the end of his show, he does the same thing again. Let's do a cipher.
Yep.
And I'm hanging out with all the rappers, the local rappers, and they're like, "Come on, Wicks, let's go."
Yeah, man.
So I'm walking down the stairs. We were like on the balcony. I'm walking down the stairs, and the lady goes, "Hey, you." And I look, and it's KRS-One's wife.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. And I was like, she gave me a hug, and I go, "You remember me?" And she goes, "Of course I do." And I
Ah,
was like, "Damn, that's crazy." So then I get down to the stage, and then I walk up, and I see KRS-One, and he goes, "What's up, man?" And I go, "You remember me?" And he's like, "Of course I do." So
damn. That's so cool,
KRS-One's KRS-One's hype man raps,
man.
then KRS-One raps, and while KRS-One is rapping, I'm thinking in my head, this is about to happen right now. This
Uh-huh.
manifestation, this vision, this dream, this thought. I'm like, I know he's gonna pass me the mic. And it was crazy. Right when he was done rapping, it was almost like it sounds crazy, but it almost seemed like time kind of slowed down.
Yeah, full
And
circle, man.
yeah, he passed the mic, and then I grabbed it and I obliterated it. And it's crazy because people always tell me like, "Oh, we were there when you opened up for KRS-One," and they talk about both shows. I've never opened up for KRS-One.
Yeah.
I've just stole the show at both KRS-One shows in Fresno. I've never opened up. I never had a set.
Uh-huh.
Never. Not like at all. But yeah, that's like people still talk about that to this day. Like both
Yeah.
of those shows, people that were at them. But yeah, after that, I lived my whole life off of that. Like I manifested my mural in Fresno. I manifested my first tours. I manifested I manifested a lot of things, man. Those are the main ones, though, right there. The mural and the
Yep.
KRF-One moment,
Yeah.
and my first tours and stuff. Yeah, it's
Dude,
crazy.
I love that
Oh,
story. And
Hollywood days.
I never heard
Hollywood,
that story in that degree. That was amazing. Thank you for sharing that, man.
yeah, man. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, that changed my life, man. I live my whole
Yeah.
life off of that now. Like, that first manifestation came true. So I was like, well, if it happened one time,
Let's
maybe
do
it
it
can happen
again.
again. So then I started like now I might have manifested maybe 6, 7 things. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's a coincidence if it's um working consistently. You know what I mean? People think it's crazy
Yeah.
or you might be a little out of your mind for attempting it. But I do believe, you gotta have the vision, you gotta have the manifestation, but you also have to grind. You also have to work hard. It's
That's
not
right.
like I can sit down and just dream about it.
Yeah.
But you know, hard work without no vision, it's meaningless. Talent without no passion is meaningless. So it's a combination of things, but you do need to manifest, but you also need to get off your ass as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
It's
love that story,
it's not,
man.
it's not the whole battle, but it's half the process is manifestation.
Yeah, it's clearly evident that you're one of the hardest working MCs, man, and it's very apparent. And so I actually had that as a question too about your mural, man, for the music video that you have painted up. That's in Fresno too, with the
Yeah,
picture of you with the crown, right? Painted.
yeah,
And so how did that happen, man? So that was amazing too. The video shoot for that too was dope, and just the mural. I mean, just it was great, man. Can you share the story on how that came about?
yeah, man. You know what's crazy about the mural is before that mural happened, I made an album called King Grimy, and like I said, I was at all the hip hop shows
Hmm.
after that. So around this time, I was already rapping for like 10 years, and I felt like I was kind of getting slept on like heavily. Like at shows, they'd have me open up and like come on hella early, even though I obliterate everything. They
Right.
still
Like, get
give
me
me
on
like
later, man.
they still give me the worst times, and I'm like, why are you giving me the worst times when like the crowd is here? A lot of people are coming to support me specifically, and I'm killing it, and
Yeah.
I'm getting like the worst time. And then like people were saying like using word like the underdog or like oh or like the little homie or like the new
Sure.
guy. It was like it was always like they didn't want to give me my props, you know. And
Sure.
I said, fuck that. If they're not gonna give me the crown, I'm gonna take that shit. And I made the album King Grimy, and that was just a statement. Like
Oh,
Fresno's a
shit.
little grimy ass town. Like I'm the king of this shit, so it's King Grimy. And it's crazy because I did my release party and I took a picture and I had the crown on.
Yep.
So the picture at my release party is the picture you see on the wall.
Yeah,
And
that's really cool.
everybody was sleeping on me, and then I made that album and I made that statement, and like in my own way, our metaphorical way, I snatched it and I took the crown. And after that day, people call me King Grimy for like they kind of stopped calling me Wicks and started calling me King Grimy for like 2 or 3 years.
Uh-huh.
And then
Oh, wow.
the photo from the release party ended up going on the wall, and that I feel like that's another manifestation as well. Like I was like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna make this album, and everyone's gonna quit fucking around,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what happened. Like
Yeah.
that album and that statement and that whole entire like that move that I made somehow became this big thing that created a mural. Shout out to GTL going through life. That's the legendary graffiti crew out here. They
Yeah.
they've been they're the longest standing out here in Fresno. Like they've been in the game for mad years. Shout out Par One. He's the one that did the mural. But yeah, they blessed me and they did that on the love. They did that on the strength, and it was
Yeah.
all authentic, all organic. Those dudes been showing me love since the beginning of my journey. Before I met them, I used to all my music videos. I was rapping in front of their pieces, and then I didn't realize when I was at shows that they were in the crowd. And
Sick.
then we ended up becoming like closer and closer over the years. Shout out GTL, man. But yeah, that's how that all came about right there, man.
Yeah, I love it, man. That was one thing that I had always remembered when I saw that video, and I've got a goal to come see it one of these days, man. So yeah, I'll be out there, man. I'm gonna manifest that. But really, really cool story, man.
I need
Has
to, I need to bring you out here. I need to bring you out here.
Yeah, likewise. You need to come out to Hawaii, and I was gonna ask you too, man. Have you ever performed overseas yet, like outside of the U.S.?
Not yet, man. That's
It's
like
coming, man. I see that in your future, dude.
yeah, man. I just started that's my next goal actually. Like even if I gotta fund it myself, I got a little 9 to 5 right now.
Uh-huh.
Because it's crazy. I do want to go to Hawaii just to go.
We
So
gotta
that's
try to
why
figure it out, man.
I got a regular 9 to 5 for that. But I also want to go. I want to save up to go to New York on some music, and I want to save up to go to Europe on some music stuff. Because all I need to do is just get there, and once I get there, I already got people that could line some stuff up for me. I just gotta find my way there and back. So that's definitely coming in the future, man. I'm working towards that.
Yeah, I see it, man. And we should talk offline about Hawaii, man. That would be super dope, man. We try to make that happen, man. I'd love
Yeah,
that.
man, I'm down. I'm down, man. I just want to go there just because I see pictures, and every time I see pictures or anytime someone talks about it, it almost feels like they're talking about like heaven on earth. I'm like, damn. They make
Yeah.
it sound so peaceful and so beautiful. Every time people talk about Hawaii, like their whole entire aura and expression, it just changes. And I'm like, I need to go. Because
Yeah.
every
Well, we
time
take
people talk about it, they got that same energy. And I like that energy they got, you know?
yeah, we'll take care of you out here, man. We'll make it happen, dude. That'd be great. We'd love to host you out here, man.
Hell yeah, man. I can't wait. It's going to be sick.
Well, hey man, have you has it always been rapping or did you ever dabble in music production or any other element of hip hop? Has it always been emceeing?
I tried to make beats and I realized that it's not as easy as it looks. I
I agree.
was like, you think it's easy, like, especially me, I'm so picky with beats and I'm so particular.
Yeah.
So since I'm so like I got such a like high expectation, I would assume that my shit would be hella tight. And then I make it and I'm like, damn, I don't know. This shit is not easy. Like it's not easy to make a banger, you know? So
Yeah.
I dabbled in it and I was like, I'm gonna leave that up to the professionals. And
Yeah,
then
yeah. I'm the same way, man. I agree. I just don't have the patience for it, man.
and then before I rap, I tried to dabble in graffiti for a little bit. That was very short lived too, because
Okay.
I got caught like 2 or 3 times, and I only had like a career like 2 or 3 years. I'm like, I'm getting it's like this ain't for me. Like, and if you get seen, you gotta like run from
Yeah.
the police, and I don't really feel like running at all. So yeah, that wasn't a. I was like, I can't do nothing criminal because I'm not into running in high speed chases. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not built for that. I'm not built for jumping fences and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
try
I
to
got
dabble.
messy handwriting too, man. My handwriting is atrocious, so I feel you.
But yeah, those were the that was the other element that I try to dabble in, but it would definitely I got caught up with graffiti like twice, and then I ended up freestyling one time at my middle school, and I got that same adrenaline rush and that
Yeah.
same feeling, and I was like, I don't got to deal with police, and I don't have to run. So I was
Yeah,
like, yeah, I'm gonna stick to rap,
I like it.
rap.
Freaking dope, man. I would be really mad at myself if I didn't ask you about Ghetto Artsy, man. So I've told you time and time again every time we talk that it's like my favorite album that you've done, and I think you hit a home run just off the park with the first track, and just the entire album was really dope, man. And was it just one producer, or was it a combination of producers that produced that album?
Oh man, it was a lot of producers, and because I like to do my albums mostly with one producer, like old school
Yeah.
style, you know. But around that time, I was like trying to get an album from a producer, like one,
Hmm.
but they would only send me like 2 or 3 beats, or they wouldn't have no beats. Like, damn, nobody got no beats. Like, even the main people that I mess with didn't have no beats, and I was all like, so with Ghetto Artsy, I was like, I actually put out like a post, like if any producers got any beats or they want to send something, like
Yeah.
I'm willing to work right now. So
Yep.
I got beats from a dude named Bryce, and he was dope. He was super dope. And
Yeah.
I got the Hunger Bars. I only got one beat from this dude. His name was Soul Real,
Okay.
and that's Hunger Bars. That's like one of my favorite songs like I ever made. And
Wow.
then my homie Sean Peso, and there's one beat from Ayatollah on there. Shout out
Nice.
My boy Rob Zill.
Okay.
He got the beat from Ayatollah, like, and he never did nothing with it. And he was like, I know you'll do something with it. So he blessed me with the Ayatollah beat. But
Oh,
yeah,
sweet.
there's a few producers on there. There's like maybe like three or four. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Dingy. Man. Dingy's a super dope rapper out here from Trendsetters. They were one of the pioneers too. But his producer name is Denmar. He sent me some beats on there too.
Nice, man. I had a lot of favorite tracks on there. I really like Ghetto Streets, Royalty, Don't Stop, From the Gutter to Around the World is where I'm headed, and
Yeah.
Shining Like a Star, man. I mean, it was, oh man, Make It Out. I mean, it was all like, I think that album like really hit. I just felt like they were life stories, and I could feel like just the flick being I don't know, just conveyed to me in music form, man. It hit me, and the album title was what even like got me more, man. And it was like ghetto artsy, man. And I felt like it was like never judge a book by its cover, man. And fuck all your preconceived notions about me. As many sides of a person. And that intro was like it just kind of set it off and tied that concept. But what was the meaning behind ghetto artsy, man? And so I just for me that's how it hit.
So Ghetto Artsy, like I came up with that name because I feel like there's kind of like two sides to me.
Yeah,
And like sometimes I'll be hanging out with like my more artsy, like hipstery kind of friends.
yeah,
And then we'll be chilling and I'll be kind of on that side of my two personalities.
okay,
But maybe midway through the conversation, maybe I might get drunk or something. But out of nowhere, like a little bit of ghetto or a little bit of street comes out.
yeah.
And every time I do that, it's like the record goes zoop, and everyone just looks like they look all crazy. But the
Yeah.
same thing would happen when I was with my friends that were like more street. Like we'll be hanging out and I'll be communicating through that language.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, I'll say something like poetic or philosophical or deep.
Uh-huh.
And then they stop and then they look at me kind of like weird or out of place. And I was like, oh, you know, I'm not just one thing. I'm not just artsy and I'm not just ghetto. I'm ghetto artsy.
I love it,
And
man.
yeah, just with my personality, you'll see that shift between ghetto-ness from time to time and artsiness from time to time.
Yeah.
They both they just pop out like Tourette's, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's where I got that ghetto artsy and based off the title, like I was saying, I was writing the poetry in 2019
Yeah.
and ghetto artsy came out in 2020 and when I came on the poetry scene, with rap, you could have a dope voice, you could have a dope cadence, you could hide behind a beat, you could hide behind braggadociousness.
Yeah.
But with poetry, they're like, they don't give a fuck about how cool your voice is or how cool your rhythm is or your projection. They
Uh-huh.
don't care about a beat because the beat ain't there.
Uh-huh.
And you can be saying a bunch of cool stuff, but if it's not deep
Yeah.
and it doesn't got no substance,
Yeah.
they don't care about your flows and your tricks at all. So
Interesting.
they're like go deeper. You know what I mean? Like with poetry, the more vulnerable you could go or the deeper you could go, it gets the biggest clap or the biggest reward. So it's
Yeah.
almost like how low could you go? How deep could you go? And
Yeah.
that definitely made me become more of an artist
Yeah.
and not just an MC or not just a battle dude. And that my first album where I really try to like implement that was Ghetto Artsy
Yeah.
because I was dabbling in the poetry. I'm like, I did poetry because I wanted it to make me a better artist or a better rapper overall.
Yeah.
And I guess Ghetto Artsy, that's like the proof in the pudding. That's
Yeah.
my first time experimenting with what I learned from spoken word
Yeah.
with
That's
Ghetto
that's my
Artsy.
favorite
Yeah.
album, man. Internal Healings gives it a run for its money, but I just I think I personally connected with it hard, man, and I love a lot of the stuff you do, and that one by far, man. I just really hold that album in high regard. It's a dope album, man. Congratulations on an amazing release, man.
Yeah, that album right there. I think I tell people like if you never heard heard of me or you don't know about me or you want to get an idea of like who I am as an artist,
Yeah.
that's the best album because it's well balanced. Like
Yeah.
there's that hardcore like boom bap like raw stuff. There's
Mhm.
like that deep life stuff. There's like some fun records. It's like it has all of my styles in it.
Yeah. I agree,
Yeah,
man.
it's very well balanced.
Very well, man. And you're still, I mean, you're hot, man. You're still on fire, and you just released a single. The one I really, well, the one I really enjoyed of recent was Mountain Movers, the track that you did with Noah James that came out earlier this month. Man, ferocious. You talk to me how you guys came together and put that single out. What's the story behind that joint?
Oh yeah, Noah James, man, he's super super raw.
Yeah.
Um, we've been doing shows like together for a while, like out there on the underground like LA scene.
Okay, he's from
The
LA.
first- He's from the IE actually. He's from the Inland Empire. I'm not
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not sure exactly where in the IE, but I know he's from the IE. I think he's from Ontario, but
Ah,
I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But um, it's crazy. The first time I seen Noah James, he was on tour with I believe it was Murs,
okay.
and I seen him at Strummers in Fresno, and I was in the crowd, and this dude he's a big dude, and he's on stage just killing it, obliterating. And
Yeah.
in the middle of the show, this dude he fucking takes his shirt off and he starts like jumping up and down and going crazy like ape shit. I'm like, damn, this fool's tight. And I was just in the crowd. I was like, oh, he's dope. And I followed his music and his social medias, and
Yeah.
maybe like a month or two later, he left a comment on one of my videos, and I was like, oh damn, that dude knows who I am. I was just in the crowd. He never seen me rap or nothing,
Yeah. Yeah.
but somehow, some way, he found the music, and so we built to that.
Okay.
I didn't even talk to him that day when I seen him the first time, but a few months later, he hit me on online and showed some love, and then we ended up doing all kinds of shows, and
Yeah.
he's one of my favorite performers on the underground for sure.
I love
He
it.
he knows, he definitely knows how to put a show on, like in a real way. A lot of
That's
energy.
super dope. Yeah, that single was great, man. So yeah, I just love that you keep it moving and you're either performing or you're still putting stuff out consistently. And man, I'll say, man, I've had the honor to do some songs with you too, man, and it's super awesome, man. I know
Appreciate
when I first heard of you in 2019, I already knew, man. I was like, man, I'd love to work with this guy, man, and I'm glad that we connected, man, for a couple songs on my album in 2020, man. That was really fun.
Man, dude, I appreciate you, man. We got some dope shit too, and it's
Yeah,
crazy because when you hit me up, you send me a link, and I always click the links.
yeah.
Like I always,
You gotta check.
and, and most of the time, that shit ain't good. Like, and then sometimes it's decent, but like 90% of the time when they send a link, I'll check it out. And most of the time, that shit is not good. But that was the dopest link that anyone ever sent me. Like you're like, oh yeah, check the link.
Oh
And I went
man,
on there
right
and I was
on.
like, what? I was like, what the fuck? I was like, damn, that shit's crazy. That shit's dope.
Oh man,
So
right on, man.
yeah. That was like the that yeah, that was tight, man. That was dope. And I'm happy we got music and
Yeah,
definitely got some more on the way, man. There's some more coming for sure.
I'd love it, man. Yeah, always an honor, man. And you know what, too? Hey, it was dope too. Like COVID, you were doing the COVID bar sessions too. That was super fun, man. You were just trying to keep it alive, man. That was
Oh
really
yeah.
cool. I had
That
fun
that
rocking with y'all, man.
that concept right there, the bars and the cars,
Yeah.
that was just all like the deep cuts or the records that I feel like I love, but I know they wouldn't work on stage.
Oh,
I was like,
gotcha.
I'm gonna just rap them in the car because these shits are hard, but I'm never gonna do them on stage. And so that's what that was. And
How fun.
some they got a lot of love. Some of those records got more love based off of that little series right there.
Yeah, I love it, man. I thought it was fun, and I was stuck in the house, man, and I'd wait for I think I can't remember what day, if it was like Fridays or something, or Thursdays or something, but
Yeah.
uh, that was always fun, man. So right on for doing that, man. And I want to shout out to your merch game, man. It's always on point. I got the shirt and the stickers. Your boy Sahab did that one that I really love.
Oh yeah.
Man, yeah, your merch game is on point, brother.
Yeah, man. Shout out to all the artists, man, because half the time they'll just do animation and they'll just like send it to me just on the love, and I'll be like, yeah, this is tight.
Yeah,
Can I make a sticker? And they're like, hell yeah. So all of that is like a lot of Fresno artists. They like, I don't know, they just draw me from time to time, and then
yeah,
they'll send it to me, and I'm like, oh, I want to use this. So shout out to all the artists that show love, man. I appreciate y'all.
yeah. I really got to
Yeah.
shout out your boy Sahab, man. I really love that one, man. I'd love to see that piece that he did blown up, man. Man, I'd love to hang that as a poster, man. That's super cool, man. I really like his work, man.
Yeah, he's super dope. He makes music too. He makes like some kind of like indie experimental progressive kind of music.
Nice.
But yeah, he's dope. He has a fan base and all that. Like, he's a cool dude, man. Shout out to him. The music, the art, everything.
Right on, man. Well, hey, man, what you like to do for fun, man, when you're not making music, man? What was MC Wicks do outside of music?
Recently, I've got like really because of psychedelics and stuff.
Yeah.
I started to appreciate like movies and art more, like
Nice.
way more than before. And so I've been getting into like movies. Like I've been watching a lot of Stanley Kubrick, all of his shit, and
Yeah.
David Lynch, all of his shit, and then like I went deep into like the history of movies, and I started even watching stuff from like the 1920s because
Oh,
that's
interesting.
really when the movie industry kind of really started was in the 20s.
Okay.
So I even started watching like silent films and then like German expressionism films, and so I've been like recently I've been kind of just in a mode where I've been like studying things and trying to learn on my own, like taking myself to school. I've been
Uh-huh.
listening to audio books and stuff. And I
Yeah.
never thought I didn't really like school and stuff like that growing up.
Okay.
So I never think that like, in the future or one day that I'd be doing like research on my own. But
Yeah.
right now I'm trying to learn. I think enlightenment and elevation, that's like my thing where I'm at right now. Like I've been
Yeah.
listening the 48 laws of power. I've been listening to that, like
Nice.
I'm trying to learn that book like the back of my hand. It's crazy.
Nice.
Real life situations will happen, and then like you kind of naturally you kind of stop, process, then react, but it happens so quick.
Yeah.
It all happens in real time, but something will happen, and I'll stop and I'll process, and before I react, I remember one of them gems, and then I react accordingly.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now it's been all movies, like
Nice.
movie and education is what I've been on right now. Just educating myself. But yeah, I might want to dabble in that one day. I might want to make my own experimental films. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like that real
I love
artsy
that.
kind of artsy. There's a movie called Sam Sora, and it's like there's no words, there's no dialogue at all, and they go all around the world and they show you like nature. They show you like religious places like temples. They show you Mecca. They show you poverty. They
Yeah.
show you like factory workers. They show you like the ghetto. It's showing you all of humanity.
Right.
And literally, you watch this movie and you literally through cinema you go around the world in like 2 hours. You go around the whole entire world. Yeah,
Amazing.
man. And that movie was really tight. And there's like no words, and it's just strictly skill and technique and camera work that made that movie like and setting, that made that movie like really tight. So that inspired me. I might want to. I'm thinking about trying to experiment with that one day and put that hat on.
I could see that, man. You're bound to, man. I mean, you went music videos, poetry, man. I would not be surprised. Super dope, man. What? Hey, what do you got in the works right now? Any special projects you want to shout out, man?
Yeah, man. I'm working on a new album with my boy Borgner Park. I don't
Okay,
got a name yet, but I already recorded maybe like 80% of it.
nice.
I'll just say that shit is coming out really, really dope.
I love it.
And I'm planning on getting a couple bigger features on there. So look out for that, man. It's coming soon. I'll probably be dropping that probably early next year for sure.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm
Nice.
always I'm always trying to work, man. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my technique,
Let's
but
hear it. Yeah.
I like to make two albums at a time, and every album is an asset. Every album is like a money cow. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
drop one album, I drop one cow, and I milk the titty, and I milk I milk the titty as long as I can milk the titty. As soon as that titty goes dry for a millisecond, boom, I drop the second cow.
I
And
got you, man.
like your album's gonna be hype, people are gonna be on it. But as soon as you see they start to sleep,
Yeah.
you gotta smack them in the face with the next one.
I like
And
it,
it's
man. The combo.
people, the as soon as they get drowsy, smack them. And just smack the hell out of these motherfuckers with content, so they'll never be able to sleep. You know what I mean? Keep them awake. So
Wow.
that's
Interesting,
my
man.
yeah, that's my technique because there's so much music dropping and
Yeah.
instant gratification and things flying quick that people they kind of do take art and they take a lot of things for granted because how fast the internet and the world moves.
Yeah.
So if you let them sleep long enough, they'll forget. So I don't let them sleep at all. That's like my
Yeah.
technique. Like
I love that, man.
they're not allowed to sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you do a good job too on your social media accounts, man. You keep it active, man. I like that a lot.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, man. That stuff too is always changing every couple of years, man. It's like
Strategize.
always gotta like stay on top of like stay current with the social media and the algorithm and all that. It's crazy, man.
That's what's up, man. Well, I look forward to that first drop in 2024. And before we close this thing out, man, where's the best place to find your music, man? And is there anybody else that you want to shout out before we close this awesome session with you?
Shout out to Ocho Studios, Tim Osman. About 90% of my catalog comes out of Ocho, and like 90% of my catalog has been mixed by Tim Osman. So shout
Nice.
out to him. He's the reason that I could be consistent and I make two albums at a time, and I could you know what I mean, make sure you guys aren't going too long without new content. Shout out to him. Shout out to GTL. Shout out to Part One. Shout out Planet Asia. Shout out my boy Cubic. Shout out Black Books and Rhyme Books. My one of my favorite events in all of California, and now I'm a part of the Fresno chapter, and I'm bringing it to my hometown. It's my second year doing it, and next year is year three. So Black Book Rhyme Books. I want you guys to follow that on social media, Black Books and Rhyme Books, man.
Nice.
And the best place to find the music, it's on all platforms. But I really, really, if you really love the music and you want more, or you can't get enough, or you really you want a little bit of the extra, go to Bandcamp, MC Wicks
Yeah.
dot Bandcamp, and there's a couple albums that are on Bandcamp only, exclusive to Bandcamp. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So if you heard anything on Spotify and you want to hear more, go to Bandcamp. And I like the way they pay the artists. You know, they pay them like in real time. So shout out to Bandcamp.
I love it, man. Well, right on, Mo. Thank you again. It was an honor to hear your story. It's been amazing following all the things you've been doing, and I'm so happy and proud of you for all the successes that you've seen in the last number of years, man. It's very inspiring. So, thank you again. I look forward to hearing all the new stuff, and man, I can't wait to get this story out, man. Thank you for your time, man, especially on a late Friday night.
Appreciate you, man. You already know, man. Salute. We out here.
All right, man. Take care.
Oh, yeah. Peace.